The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Good evening. Welcome to another edition of Table Topics. Welcome,
yes,
Carlos.
Welcome. And it's been 15 months, I believe, or maybe over that, that we didn't have a show in the studio. But finally, we're back in the studio for another show. The reason for the masks is we're still under the rules of the school that I got my shots, but I didn't have my card on me. I don't carry my card on me all the time.
Yeah. Who does, right?
Where I have my card, it's when I travel. So guess what? It's inside my passport, because that's I think the only time that I want to make sure that I have the card on me is I probably be in Boston somewhere, and I don't want to come back home to pick up my card. So that's why through all this time I kept it on my on my passport. Yeah. But I believe after we show here the school that we have the vaccines, we're going to be okay to remove the masks. On my case, John is a different case. It's a case by case.
We're all the same. I mean,
we're all the same.
Everybody has to show you their papers. You know what I mean? That's just how it is now. Everybody has to show their papers.
Well, the good thing about is the weather is started changing, but it's not really cold yet. Mm-hmm. What probably could stop us a little bit from still tipping outside with no masks is it's the rain. And this week was raining. Monday and Tuesday was raining. Today it's a little bit better. But I think that's like always, we don't have a topic, but we're going to try to put a show together for you today. Driving in and thinking about what I'm going to be talking about today is a real story about somebody that died from corona without having corona.
Oh, how did that happen? How did that happen?
So, here's the story. As everybody knows, and my wife, we do some cleaning. We have a company cleaning, and on the side of that, I work and my wife works in a different job, and she's a PCA. So she takes care of elderly individuals, and this particular lady that she's been working for 3 years, when COVID hit, everybody that was working for her was very careful, because she was, at the time she was 93.
Oh, wow.
2 years ago when she started working for her, or 3 years ago. She was 93. And when COVID hit last year, they were double masking. They were not getting close to her, make sure that she was in one room when they were cleaning another room. Mm-hmm. So it's 3 different ladies that take care of this lady, my wife being one of them. Mm-hmm. And then came the vaccine. And all of them decided to take the vaccine to save this lady's, life, pretty much, for her to be safe on her own home. That she needs care. So my wife took the vaccine. All the other 2 ladies had the vaccine. They always use masks. They always disinfected doors. The visit there was only a couple of kids from the lady. Always be careful. So the lady, because the doctor didn't want to give her the shot because she was very delicate. She was weak, very weak, 93. But she was moving around fine with help. So until last week, after all this time, she never got COVID because everybody was working with her, was super careful for her not to catch it.
Yeah.
Because she could not get the shot. Last week or the week before, she fell. So my wife got a call, say, well, the lady is in the hospital because she fell. Oh, she's okay. Yeah, she's okay. Because she was in bed for 2 or 3 days, her legs got very weak. So they bring her home and they put her in bed. After 2 days in bed, it was very tough to treat her because to change her, to wash her, she was in bed.
Yeah.
So the daughter decided to bring her back to the hospital so she could put her on their rehabilitation programs, but it has to be through the hospital.
Yeah.
They bring her to the hospital. So for her to be able to get into that program, she had to be vaccinated. She got the J&J, and 2 days after, her heart gave up. The heart pretty much gave up on her. To me, here's a perfect example that how you die from COVID without having COVID. So, and here's my problem is, all that work that these 3 ladies did and their whole family did, protect themselves so they could save this life, this lady, so she could survive as long as she could on her own, was wasted. Because of the decision that now they are forcing people to get these vaccines. And now what they're doing is they're killing people now. Because a lot of this lady never got the vaccine because her doctor said that she's very weak to get this vaccine.
Yeah.
So be extra careful around her because if she get it, she may die from because she's weak.
Yes.
So all this time was a waste of time from these people trying, get her away from the vaccine.
Yeah.
And that's it. And
I look at things a little differently, Carlos, that, when it's your time to go, unfortunately, it's your time to go. You know what I mean? I know people that have had COVID twice. They've had the vaccine and they're still kicking. And they're elderly people that are not in the best of health. So, but I do know something similar that happened to a friend of mine where their 95-year-old family member never had COVID, but they said, you know what, they should get it. And within a week, they passed away. I don't know what the vaccine was, but, it is what it is. Everybody is being forced to take this, no matter where you work. It's going to eventually be everybody. We're past basically using our common sense. So somebody like you or I, our age, we have roughly a 1 or 2% chance of dying from COVID. Okay, but if you take the vaccine, what are your chances? They say it's 0.08. That's lower, but I mean, what if you're the 0.08? That's something that happens too. You know what I mean? You still can be affected by all this stuff. So we're not being given the opportunity to make decisions for ourselves. The information changes from day to day. I was discussing with you and someone else before the show that the Surgeon General on a video on YouTube says that it's advised that you get the COVID vaccine, even if you've had COVID. However, if you've had COVID, basically it's highly unlikely you're going to get it again. So we've got so much information out there that doesn't actually agree with that. And when people question it, you're accused of being somebody that's against vaccinations. And that's, I think, you know how they talk about conspiracy theories? When you don't address everything that comes along, that's how conspiracy theories and people not trusting moves forward, because you're not giving people answers as to why. Give you another example. Dr. Fauci and Dr. Sanjay Gupta were on a show on CNN, and Dr. Gupta said, you know, I'm getting a lot of phone calls as a doctor that people have had COVID and they have the immunity. Why are they required to take the vaccine? Now, Dr. Gupta asked Dr. Fauci, and he goes, that's a good question. I don't have an answer right now. Well, there have been studies. For example, in Israel, they studied 700,000 individuals in this study, because Israel's one of the most vaccinated in the world, behind, like, I think Iceland. And they found that people that had COVID previously were basically highly unlikely to get it again, and their immunity was 10 to 20% higher than someone that got the vaccine. So when we look through time in the past, basically we've always been told once you catch something, you're immune to it, right? And now we're being told that we can't trust the science. That's science that's been here for years and decades. Why can't we trust that now? You know, so there are so many people that have that, that questioning in their mind, but they're being told, you either do this or you lose your job. 1,400 healthcare workers in New York City lost their jobs the other day. These were nurses, doctors, hospital personnel that said, no, I don't want to take it. I don't agree with this. And, you know, I kind of feel for them more than anybody else, because they were in this pandemic and they were heroes. Remember? Healthcare heroes. They were ringing bells and all this stuff, and they weren't vaccinated at that point. And now they don't want to get it because they don't have all the questions, all their questions answered. And now they're horrible people. And I was listening to a nurse, one of those nurses there, and I really felt for her too, because you gotta feel for people who are afraid. There are some people, their answers are, and they were like, why won't you take this? And she says, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready. So I don't understand how people don't have compassion for someone like that. She's been a nurse. She worked all through that pandemic, probably has COVID antibodies in her, and she says, I don't have all my questions answered. I'm not ready. Why isn't there any compassion for somebody like that? You know, and why aren't there more studies on natural immunity?
Well, like every other disease that we have, like the flu, a lot of people still don't have the flu shot because they know they have a good fight. To fight back. The immune system is good. So it's okay to be sick because your body is built in a way to fight. Okay, so many of us have headaches in the morning, and by lunchtime the headache is gone.
It's gone
because our body is built to do that job for us. So if you had COVID and you survive, I don't see the need for vaccine. On the other side, if you had COVID and you died, it was because you were the one that actually needed, because your immune system was very low. But then you have those that, recommended by the doctor, don't take it because you're too weak to take it. So we have three different, and seems like that because they cannot, until now, they could not give to the elderly, they want to give to everybody young. But that doesn't stop you from getting again. Okay, so that's and we've been almost 2 years in this. We've been almost 2 years. Now we're going into a third shot.
And this is something we're gonna have to learn to live with. But constantly getting shots is not gonna change this. You know what I mean? It's just not gonna change it. We don't know what the effects will be in 10 years taking these. I mean, for you and I, it's probably a little bit different. When you're in your 20s and 30s, 20 years from now is a big deal. You don't want to come down with health conditions. Me, I'm at, toward the end of it. So in 20 years, what do I care? I'm going to be well past the senior citizen at that point. But
Yeah, but remember, John, the 70s, now it's 90s.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
So as we get old, and how we very early we learn, if you want to survive, what do you need to do? You need to exercise.
Yeah.
You need to stay away from salt. You need to stay away from sugar. So in the very early years, we start taking care of that.
Yeah.
And that's what pretty much brings us to the 90s.
Yeah.
Is because we try to have a healthy, foods and a healthy,
But I think like if you've been to other countries, okay, so for example, Portugal, when I went there, you see very few people overweight there, not like in this country. And we had the most COVID cases. And anywhere in the world, there are places like Norway and Sweden that they're not even doing any of this anymore. They didn't do vaccinations. People just walked around regularly, but they were healthy. And I think that's probably one of my biggest gripes in this country is that instead of telling people to get healthy, eat right, exercise, try to maintain a certain weight, no, we don't do that. And that's something that we should be telling people to prevent things instead of putting all these chemicals in our body. And I said, that's a big contributor as to why we were. I think I just read something that said, and I'm no great advertisement here, but I think they said like 80% or 70% of the people are overweight, and then there was another percentage that were obese, which means you're over like a BMI of like 30 or 35, whatever. So that shows something with this country, that when you're not in the best health, things affect you.
Well, a lot of things are different on this country, and they have a different approach. And since you're talking about Portugal, and I'm familiar with Portugal laws and everything, the drug abuse is so low in Portugal because 20 years ago, when this started coming around, people will start ignoring the problem and kicking the can down the road.
Yeah.
So when finally, so many years ago, they approved it.
Yeah.
They said, you want to kill yourself?
Yeah.
Go ahead, kill yourself. If you walk through that door, the possibility you have not to come out.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so that's up to you. And that dropped so much. Okay, same thing with crime. Instead of locking you up for something minor, locking you up for a year and a half, and the people working had to pay for you to survive there.
Yeah.
They say, guess what? You're going to have to work for the government for 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to clean school. You're going to clean schools. You're going to wash streets. You're going to do whatever the state needs to be done. The city needs to be done. Okay, that's your punishment.
Yeah.
For a guy that don't like to work, that's a big punishment.
Yeah. But that wouldn't work here because you're doing this, that, or the other thing. You're not treating people well. So things like that, unfortunately, I don't see why they wouldn't. But, we have all these people that would be hollering and screaming, you know what I mean? You're not treating them like a human being, blah, blah, blah. So, no, I do agree with the whole drug thing. I think if you make things not illegal, the temptation is less there then. Then it's like, oh, I can do that, who cares? I think sometimes with some people, it's like they know they can't do it, but they want to do it. Your kids are. Don't touch that.
Exactly. Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to go. It's like a parent telling a 10-year-old, don't go there.
Yeah.
Sure, he's going to go there. He wants to know why you're telling them not to go there.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is. I think it's a lot of things going on with this. A lot of stuff still up on the air, and believe it or not, answers. We still don't have answers.
Yeah. No.
And they're looking for these answers for so long, and we still don't have answers because everybody, it's like going in different ways.
Yeah. Nobody wants to get. Well, you need to know where this originated. We know it was in China, but we need to know, was it originated in that lab, that Wuhan lab, and there was a mistake and it somehow got out? This is nothing new. I mean, I read a book probably about 10 years ago called Germs by Judith Miller. And even here in the US, they would send planes over and let chemicals out. And then the next day they'd go to see, was anybody affected by this? So this is nothing new.
Yeah.
What would happen there? You know what I mean? We're people are human. And they kind of could have fooled around with something and then it got out. I mean, we have horror movies that are created out of that, for stuff like that. So I just wish that we could find out who it is, you know, how this started, because in order to find out how not to do it again, we need to know where it started. We need to know where the problem started.
And you know something, 9/11 was on a movie 20 years before that happened.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah.
So the idea is it's out there.
Yes.
And for people that looking just for to be bad,
Yeah.
we are teaching them.
Yeah, exactly.
We are teaching our movies now. We teach how they can get away with assaulting banks, you know, with
Yeah.
breaking laws
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everything. They're teaching you how to do it.
How to do that. Yeah,
Okay?
Yeah.
So guess what?
Yeah.
You don't expect them, it's like teaching kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't
it's-
expect them to learn?
Yeah, I just, I mean, the whole 9/11, I know people that were working that day, co-workers that I had that worked that day that saw the planes come by. I'm just amazed that somebody could do that didn't have any experience, could fly into a city that low. I'm just totally amazed. You know, like I said, I know people that were there. I know people that saw the planes go by. They felt the shaking and all that stuff. I get it, but I'm just totally amazed how, you know what I mean, you could get these people to do this. But, you know, people can do whatever they want. You know what I mean? They can, not whatever they want, but they can figure things out.
So those guys were learning to become pilots.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that takes a lot of training to land a plane in an open field and on the airport.
Yeah.
To get the way they got
Yeah, to find the building. You know
to
what I
find a
mean?
building and to go straight
Yeah.
to a
that's-
building,
Yeah.
it makes you questionable.
Yeah. It's just strange to know. I mean, but who knows? We don't know. They
Yes.
might have had a lot of experience in it, but it just kind of seemed.
And 20 years after, we still have questions about that.
yeah,
And
we
it's been
still-
20 years.
Yeah, and some things we're never going to know. You know, but if we could switch this, you had a meeting just recently, and you know, you had sent me an email about an issue that, of course, we find out after it's already done.
Yes.
You know, so, you know, I think we got to do a better job in this city. And I'm talking about all the citizens, all of us got to do a better job of, when you hear something's happening, you need to go out and deal with it. Because once it's done, it's done. I still, the thing that happened at your meeting, I still have a lot of heartburn with that because, you know, it's approved. I get it. It's totally approved. Sorry about this mask. I get it. It's approved. But there, you know, folks that are involved in this, you know, I think you need to come in with like, I don't want to use the word attitude, but just more willing to listen to people. Yeah, they're going to yell at you. They're going to be upset. I get it, you know, and they should get that. But I just wish they would be more accommodating. You know, once you knew there were going to be issues with this, and I think it's kind of like, well, it's done. You know what I mean? You can't do anything about it. Even though something's a done deal, it doesn't mean that you can't help to make the situation better. And I don't find that happening in Fall River. It's kind of like, yep, it gets approved. This is it. It's done. You know, the situation after your meeting, whether that meeting, whether all those people would have attended the original zoning board meeting, maybe there would have been, but you know what, I've been to a lot of meetings where you could have 100 people in there, it doesn't make a difference.
No, it doesn't make a difference.
So
that doesn't make a difference because they try to, what they explain to us is we follow the rules and all this science check on our sheet of rules.
Yeah.
So guess what? If you're not happy, you can complain with the state.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you need to start, you need a lawyer.
Yeah.
It's going to cost you money, and you think somebody is gonna fight the city?
Yeah.
You know, to me, it's bad. It's zoning board. They should, zoning board or any other board, okay? They need to work together.
Yeah.
They need to work together. Before the zoning board pass, I think, okay, let's reach out to building inspector. Let's reach out to traffic. For us to make a decision, we need to know how the other board's gonna
And
approve this.
I agree. I think what's going to happen is they're going to
It's
approve
they
it. no
own, they
matter what.
own. Oh, from here past.
Yeah.
So I'm upset.
But
you know.
I think you're right. And I think we did try to bring that up at one particular meeting that, you know, you're going to have a certain, you know, group here, a certain group here. And you just want to try to alleviate problems before they begin. You know, like when they build a subdivision, you know there's a water problem. Why would you let them build if there's a water problem there already?
Yeah, but and Linda is trying to do that for probably for 2 years now.
Yeah.
Trying to get them to work all together.
Yeah.
Okay, but the process it's slow. I don't understand how things get so complicated. You know, I mean, they drag stuff for years.
Yeah.
What is the solution? It's so clear. If I want to do this, I'm going to need this. I'll make the calls. And I know the information. That's it.
Yeah. I wish, and I think some of the pushback has been over the years that they don't want to do it. I've actually been told that by people. They don't want to do it.
No, because
I mean?
they don't want to do it because depending on the administration,
Yeah.
they get the call before the meeting and they will walk into. That's why I say doesn't matter how many people it's on that chamber. The decision it's made before they even sit on the meeting. Okay, they go there. It doesn't matter. Nobody's going to change their mind because they got that call. Okay, from the top floor that this needs to pass. And that's it, period. So whatever you're going to say there, you could have the best steak at the house.
Yeah.
But if they don't want to eat it and they're going to vote it down, they're going to vote it down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or they're going to approve it.
With that,
Wow, we did 29 minutes already. So, wow, that was fast. And I was, I think it's gonna have next week because we're getting closer and closer to elections. And now that we have the two candidates, the two top candidates for mayor,
yeah.
we probably gonna have to dedicate some time to talk
good.
about elections and give our opinions too. But until then, I think we're good for this week.
Till 30 minutes.
So it's 30 minutes. Thank you everyone for watching one more show. Sorry about the masks, but we're gonna try to
Fix it
resolve
in
the
next-
problem.
Yeah, in the next week or two.
My fixing is gonna be faster than him because it's just a card.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.